5:45 on Daybreak. Welcome back. Well, a Sabres shakeup, the saga of Nancy and Tanya, and a crippling late-season snowstorm.
They all made news this very week in decades past. Channel 2's Dave McKinley looks back to when those stories and more were all news to you.
Would you believe it was 10 years ago this week?
I always enjoy the people. I've always enjoyed the city. There's deep love for the city in my heart.
It was a difficult day for both his fans and for him when the Sabres traded away their longest ever tenured and winningest goaltender of all time, Ryan Miller.
Very emotional right now. It's hard to think it's been 12 years with this organization.
And the very next day, Pat LaFontaine quit his job as Sabres president of hockey operations just 3.5 months after taking that gig this week in 2014. 20 years ago this week, they gussied up the Ellicott Square building as John Kerry brought his eventually unsuccessful campaign for president to Buffalo. While here, he had the pleasure of meeting two on your side's Ron Plants.
You are a wealthy man. Privileged background. What are you going to say to the average Joe or Josephine here in Western New York making $35,000 a year to make them honestly believe that you know exactly what they're going through?
It is 20 years later, and Ron's still asking the tough questions and holding people in power accountable, just as he was this week in 2004. 30 years ago this week, a Burger King opened locally, not out of the ordinary or especially newsworthy, but for where this fast food restaurant was located. Now look carefully at these pictures and see if by the background you can guess the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz, which is, inside of what other business was this Burger King opened as an experiment this week in 1994? It was the same week that...
It was the showdown that everyone has been waiting for.
One about which it seemed everyone had an opinion.
You want Nancy Kerrigan to win because she's the fairy princess, like.
Gotta just let them skate and find out what happens to the rest of it.
The whole Nancy Kerrigan-Tanya Harding affair finally came to a boil on the ice at the Olympics at Lillehammer. The drama had unfolded a month before when Kerrigan was clubbed on the knee by operatives for Harding, who, in the end, didn't even make it to the kiss and cry couch, bawling over her broken skate lace. And hey, even after this was all over, to top it all off, after claiming the silver medal, who could forget Nancy's infamous hot mic moment at Disney World? The whole affair, though, did attract a never-before-seen number of eyes to the sport of figure skating. By the way, I covered those Olympics in Norway. That's me on the right taking the gold medal for ugliest sweater this week in 1994. 40 years ago this week, we had ourselves a late-season snowstorm, one which set the single-day record for snowfall in Buffalo in the month of February, followed by another day with a similar amount. The airport shut down. Schools were closed for 4 days.
Never seen a situation quite as bad as this, with the passable exception in 1977.
Then, as now, we heard the same complaints.
This is the condition of many of Buffalo's side streets.
Some have yet to see a plow.
Then, as now, we heard the same reasons why they wouldn't be cleared for days.
What's been your biggest problem?
Parked cars, illegally and otherwise.
If history tells us anything, it's that it will snow every winter in these parts, and no snow plan will change that. It'll be as true next year as it was this year, and as it has always been since the days when it was all news to you.
All right, now back to this week's News to You pop quiz. That Burger King that opened 30 years ago this week, but if you look closely, it is inside a supermarket. Melissa called it Tops Market. Partnered with Burger King to have one of its fast food restaurants inside a local Tops store in 94. Tops tells us it has no Burger Kings in any of the stores today. There's no indication from them that they'll revive the concept from 3 decades ago.
Now you have Starbucks
in Target.
In Tops and